Welcome to our English world. This is your English teacher R.V. Nagalakshmi from NTR district. Today in our module we are going to discuss chapter 6, the making of a scientist. And the scientist we are going to talk about is Richard E. Bright, who has received Shirley Scholar Award and the Scaring Plough Award for Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. It was his fascination for butterflies that opened the world of science to him. Now, let us have a look at the overview of our module. In this module, we are going to deal with 3 sections labeled as Read and Find Out, Think About It, and Talk About It. Shall we move on to the learning objectives? By the end of this module, you will be able to read and find out the qualities that go into the making of a scientist, think and discuss how can one become a scientist, and talk about a few questions that are asked at the beginning of a scientific inquiry. Let's move on to our lesson. Dear children, if you haven't read your chapter till now, open your textbooks and go to page number 32 and read from the beginning at the age of 22 till the page 34, wherein you have the ending lines with 75 miles from where I lived. After that, come back again. We will have the gist of the lesson followed by a few questions. By this time, you would have understood that this article is a story of a curious child who is channelizing his curiosity to become a scientist. Richard E. Bright, he is also called as Richie, and he was the only child to his parents. He lost his father when he was in 3rd grade. From then, his mother was his only companion, and he grew up in the north of Reading, Pennsylvania. These are the important points you might have got from the first paragraph. Now, let's have a check of our question. Here is our first question. Where did Richard grow up? Option A, New York. B, Pennsylvania. C, Paris. And D, India. What do you think is the right answer? Yes, the answer is B, Pennsylvania. Right. Let's have a look at another question. The second question is, what was his father? Is he a teacher, a doctor, a scholar, or he was dead? Yes, the answer is D. He was dead, as we got to know by the words he lost his father. Let's continue to have a look at the gist. You might also be knowing that he had started collecting butterflies in his childhood, and by the time he is in secondary grade, he had already gathered all the 25 species found in his hometown. He also collected rocks, fossils, and coins. Here is the list of the species and subspecies of butterflies collected in 6 weeks. Here we can see the gossamer winged butterflies, the snout butterfly, wood nymphs and satyrs, which may be eye brown and wood nymphs, monarchs, also called as milkweed, whites and sulphurs, and a few brush-footed butterflies. Let's have a question. How many species had he collected till his second grade? And here are the options: A. 22, B. 35, C. 25 and D. 52. And the right answer is C. 25 kinds of species he has collected. His mother encouraged his interest. She took him on trips, bought him telescopes and microscopes, cameras, mounting materials, etc. And he earned top grades in his school. Here is the question. His mother bought him dash: microscope, camera, telescope, all the above. Yes, the right answer is D, all the above. His mother bought all the above things for him. While he was about to lose the interest, his mother got him a children's book called The Travels of Monarch 10, which told how butterflies migrate to Central America. This book has been a turning point in life and introduced him to the world of science. Let's check which book proved to be a turning point in his life. A. The Monarch Travels, B. The Travels of Monarch 10, C. Wings of Fire, and D. All the above. And the right answer is B. The Travels of Monarch 10. That book enhanced the interest of Ebright as Dr. Frederick A. Kuhart, author of the book, invited the readers to help study the butterfly migrations by tagging them. On request, he sent the tags and Richard began his research. The tagging is done like this. As it was difficult to chase and catch and tag one by one, Richard began to raise a flock of butterflies in his basement through a female monarch, and he observed the life cycle of butterflies and finally tagged them and let them go. Now tell me, he raised the flock of butterflies in the dash. What is the answer? Is it the house or a school basement or the basement of his house or an apartment? Yes, he raised the flock of butterflies in the basement of his house. C is the right answer. He collected 6 kinds of butterflies in the 6 weeks, and here is the chart that shows how many types of or the kinds of butterflies he had collected in the 6 weeks. And a few types are gossamer winged, wood nymphs, brush footed, whites and sulphurs, and a few are monarch and the snout. Do you remember how many kinds of butterflies did he collect in 6 weeks? Is it 6 or 7 or 10 or 4? Yes, you are right. The answer is 6. He collected 6 kinds of butterflies. He did the tagging for a few weeks, and as the work is too tedious and is no much feedback, he gradually lost interest in tagging the butterflies. Here we came to the end of segment 1. And my dear children, read the segment 2 from page number 34 and till the end of the lesson, and then come back again for the discussion of the gist. Hope you enjoyed the segment 2. And here is the gist. As you understand, he experienced the real science in his 7th grade. He participated and neatly presented the frog tissues with the help of a microscope. As he didn't receive any prize, he was disappointed and focused to find out what went wrong. After the analysis, he finalized that a real experiment scores much than the neat display. So, he again wrote to Dr. Ukhat and received suggestions and ideas, and he began to focus on butterflies again. What lesson does Ebright learn when he didn't win? He learned that science is not just about display, and it is also about projects and experiments. Is it A or B or both or none or only A? What do you think is the right answer? Yes, the answer is C. It is both A and B. It is not just about display but also about the projects and experiments. So, in his 8th grade, he selected the topic to find out the cause of a viral disease that kills monarch caterpillars every year. Though he was not completely successful, he won the prize for his trials. And next year, his project for the science fair was testing the theory that viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. And in this project, he got the first prize in geology division and third prize in the country science fair. As you remember, in the 9th grade, he got first prize in dash division. What is that? Is it a botany or geology or chemistry or physics? In which division has he got the prize? Yes, he got the prize in geology. Answer is B. In his second year in high school research, his research led to the discovery of an unknown insect hormone, and this in turn led to the new theory of life of cells. This year, his project question was, what is the purpose of 12 tiny gold spots on a monarch pupa? Here are the gold spots. And the assumption was the spots were just ornamental. But Ebright built a device to prove that the spots were producing a hormone necessary for the butterfly's full development. And what did he prove? The purpose of gold spots on monarch pupa was ornamental. Is it true or false? Yes, the answer is B, that is false. Then what is the truth? Show the explanation. Yes, the gold spots produce a hormone necessary for the butterfly's full development, and they are not just ornamental. And This project won first place in county fair and entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair. With this, he got a chance to work during summer at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research, and the same was repeated when he participated as a high school junior. That is, again he got entry into the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. And entomology means the study of insects. Try to recollect, what do you mean by entomology? Entomology is the study of butterflies, animals, plants, or insects. What is the right answer? Yes, the answer is D. It is the study of insects. With the rising interest in his senior, he grew cells from a monarch's wing in a culture and showed that the cells would divide and develop into a normal butterfly wing scales only if they were fed the hormone from the gold spots. For this, again he won the first place and worked at the laboratory of US Department of Agriculture. Here, this time he worked in the Department of Agriculture. So, with the help of sophisticated instruments at the Department of Agriculture, he was able to identify even the hormone's chemical structure. And while looking at the X-ray photos of chemical structure, he got the idea for his new theory about cell life. What was his new theory about? Is it about plant life or cell life or X-rays or chemical structure? Yes, the right answer is B. His new theory was about cell life. To him, these X-ray photos gave him answer to one of the biology's puzzles. And the biology's puzzle is how the cell can read the blueprint of its DNA. And DNA is the substance in the nucleus of a cell that controls heredity. It determines the form and function of the cell. Thus, DNA is the blueprint for life, and he got the solution through these X-ray photos. Recollect and answer. DNA is the substance that controls heredity, development, growth, or nucleus. And the right answer is A. It is a substance that controls heredity. With the renovated energy, E. Bright, along with his roommate James R. Wong, drew pictures and constructed plastic models to show how the DNA worked. And they together wrote a paper that explained the theory. And he stood second in his class of 1510 students and went as a graduate student researcher to Harvard Medical School. And do you know, he was not only a curious researcher but also a champion debater, public speaker, canoeist, and also the expert photographer of nature and science exhibits. Answer this question carefully. Ebright was a canoeist, a public speaker, a painter, a photographer? See the options. Is only 1 and 2 are correct? Or only 3 is correct? Or all 1, 2 and 4 are correct? Or all the above are correct? Think and answer. Yes, the answer is C. Only 1, 2 and 4 are correct. He is not a painter, but he is a canoeist, public speaker and the photographer. Ebright opined that his social teacher, Richard Werer, opened his mind to the new ideas. His social teacher said that Ebright was competitive and he tried to win not for winning's sake, but he wanted to do the best job he could. And that's how he became a scientist. Do you know what are the ingredients in making a scientist? Here are they. The first is to start with a first rate of mind, and you have to add curiosity, and finally you have to mix in the will to win for the right reasons. And Richard E. Bright had all these qualities. With the book The Travels of Monarch, he developed the scientific curiosity and that made him a scientist. So, what are the qualities that go into the making of a scientist? A. Curiosity. B. Determination to win. C. First rate mind. And D. All the above. And the right answer is D. All the above. We need all the above qualities in the making of a scientist. Now come on, let's move on to the second part of our module, that is thinking about the text. Based on the text till now you have read, just answer this. How can one become a scientist, an economist or a historian? Does it simply involve reading many books on the subject? Is it yes or no? If the answer is no, what is your explanation? Here is the answer. Besides reading many books, it involves observing, thinking, and doing experiments. Do you agree? You have also learned that entomology, the study of insects, is the topic Ebright is interested in. And here is the other branches of geology, such as ethology, primatology, herpetology, mammalogy, ornithology, taxonomy, etc. Have you heard about these words in your science textbooks? If not, have a look at this. Ethology is the study of behavior of animals. Primatology is the study of gorillas, monkeys, etc. Herpetology is the study of amphibians and reptiles. Mammalogy is the study of mammals. Ornithology is the study of birds. Taxonomy is the study of naming, defining, classifying biological organisms. If you were given a chance to choose a field from these, Which would you like to choose? Before your decision, answer this question. What do you mean by primatology? Primatology is the study of reptiles, birds, monkeys, mammals. What is your answer? Yes, the answer is C. Primatology is the study of monkeys. Have you decided which field would you like to work on? Think and decide. But now let's move on to the third part of our module. Just talk about it. As you all know, for any scientific inquiry, we need to know about a few questions, right? For example, here are the few questions, only as an example. What is DNA fingerprinting? DNA fingerprinting is a method used to identify an individual from a sample of DNA by looking at unique patterns in their DNA. What are its uses? It is useful in forensic to solve crime cases, and it is also useful to confirm the biological parent of a child, and sometimes it is also useful in human identification even after disfigurement. These are only a few useful things to mention. Let's check. DNA fingerprinting helps us to dash to solve crime mysteries, to identify biological parents, or it is none or both A and B. Yes, the right answer is D. It is both A and B. It helps in solving the crime mysteries and also identifying the biological parents. Here is another question for our scientific inquiry. How do honeybees identify their own honeycombs? And here is the answer. Honeybees identify their honeycomb in two ways. One is by the queen perfume known to all workers, and the other is by their clever dance language using sun as guide for the direction. Let me check you. Honeybees identify their honeycomb by a dance language. Is it true or false? Yes, the right answer is A. It is true. It is one of the methods. Shall we have a look at one more question? Why does rain fall in drops? Do you know about the water cycle? Just recollect. Rain is formed as a result of condensation of vapor when air is cooled below the dew point, and the raindrops start out as a tiny water droplets, collect the moisture and fall on the ground as drops. Try to answer this. Rain is the result of dash: evaporation, moisture, condensation, or water droplets. What do you think is the right answer? Yes, the answer is C. Rain is the result of condensation. Well done, children. Till now, you have read and found out and talked about various scientific inquiries. And here are a few suggested readings if you are interested to know more about these kind of books. And the first one is Journey by Night by Norenberg. And the second one, Children Who Made the Big by Thangamani. And one more book is School Days by Tom Brown. You can refer to the library and find out these books and have a further reading. And these are the few attributions to the image sources. By now, you might be understanding that science is simply the word to describe a method of organizing our curiosity, as quoted by Tom Minchin. Thank you for watching this episode. We'll meet in another episode. Till then, goodbye.